Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's episode features entitled parents. Our first story is by Dragon Crystal. Karen plus code Adam equals our fault? This happened during my time working at a Home Depot, and this Karen truly believes that it was our fault that her kid had walked off on her after management found him trying to get a snack to eat. It's not our job to babysit their children for them. Cast, me or Dragon Crystal equals me. Sally equals head cashier / supervisor. Karen equals entitled mother who blames us for letting her kid walk off on her. Nice kid is Karen's son. Eddie is the manager on duty. Securities 1 and 2 equals themselves. And David is a lot associate. I had been working for a few hours at checkout and was told by Sally to switch with Garden Center for the rest of my shift, so I had to walk past the service desk to get to the Garden Center. As I'm passing by, I see a middle-aged woman, aka Karen, looking around at some items with her son, Nice Kid, or NK. I didn't think much of it and just kept walking to the Garden Center to swap with my coworker. I think about 20 minutes or longer pass, and I'm ringing up a customer when I hear the sliding door open and catch a glimpse of Nice Kid out of the corner of my eye. My customer must have seen him too because we both turned our attention to him, and as soon as he noticed us looking at him, he quickly turned and headed back inside before we could say a word. We just assumed Karen had motioned for him to come back to her, and that's why he quickly went back inside. Not 10 minutes after my customer walked away, Security 1 along with David walked out looking around, and Eddie started stating a code Adam over the intercom. I'm confused and asked David, "What's going on?" David, "A mother lost her son and we're doing a quick lockdown to find him." Me, "I saw a little boy walk out about 10 minutes ago." Security, "Did you see which direction he walked in?" Me, "He walked out, stopped, and when he saw me, he immediately turned back and went back inside before I could say anything to him. I just thought his mom had called him back." Another 15 minutes later, code Adam is lifted, and I see David clearly annoyed, shaking his head with annoyance, followed by a woman's voice screaming from the building, "How could you let my baby just walk off like that?" Eddie, "Ma'am, please calm down. I understand that you were concerned about your child going missing, but there is no need to raise your voice." I don't exactly remember how the rest of the conversation went, because customers had walked up to my register and the doors kept opening and closing, so the conversation became muffled. I just know from what David told me is that Karen had turned around and Nice Kid had disappeared. Karen went to Eddie, panicking about Nice Kid not being where she last saw him, standing next to her, and Eddie and Security 1 and David came and stood guard by the Garden Center, while having Security 2 and a few other associates, including Sally, stationed at all other 3 exits in case Nice Kid tried to walk out of the building. Eddie eventually got a call over the store phone that acts like a radio too, that Nice Kid was found over at the service desk trying to get into the dog treat container. Apparently Nice Kid was getting hungry and had been asking his mom for a snack, but Karen just told him that she'll get him a snack soon. Then she must have just not gotten him a snack because he just wandered off on his own until someone at service spotted him trying to get the dog treats. But after, Karen goes on a rant about us not taking care of her son and making many threats. Not surprisingly, she was eventually told to leave because she started causing a scene and setting a bad example for her kid, who I'm certain was still waiting on his promised snack from his screaming mom. This is my first time hearing about something called a code Adam, and I don't know if it's just at Home Depot, but it's when a kid goes missing, they basically do a little lockdown, and it's called a code Adam. Makes me wonder, does Walmart have that? Does Costco have that? It makes sense that they should, but Home Depot sometimes, just like Costco, can be massive, and people are moving a lot of heavy stuff around in there. You do not want to have a kid that is separated from their parent getting lost inside of a Home Depot. Some of them are small, but most of the ones I've been in, they're quite large. At least the ceilings are super high. Our next story is by Sad Dragon Fruit 6263. Father's Day Crybaby. So I'm a 30 female, and my birth father is 50. He was a monster, and I ultimately raised his kids. But he had the audacity to cry to my grandmother about how none of my kids wished me a happy Father's Day, and it's OP's fault. Apparently, I'm a master of manipulation and have convinced my little sister, that's 24, to ignore him. Currently, I'm helping take care of my grandmother who's in her 80s, and unfortunately, my grandmother feels slighted that I wouldn't just send him an obligatory text. In response, I found a wonderful homemade video of my father and his second wife giggling as they pretend to abandon me at a park and record my reaction. I was 7. Even though the video lasted about 30 seconds, it wasn't the first or last time they had done such a thing. My grandmother is 80-something, but naive and also pretty entitled herself, and feels like I should extend an olive branch and forgive him because it was hard having such an awful wife. Yeah, not my problem he has bad taste. So I told her he is not entitled to forgiveness, and especially since he never apologized. He's apparently very upset because he found out that my little sister and her husband spent the day with me because he has access to her phone location. And though I even reminded her to send a cursory Happy Father's Day text to him, she forgot and is now actively ignoring him so she doesn't have to deal with the pity party. I'm pretty sure the only reason he is complaining this time is because my little sister didn't text him, because I don't think I've said Happy Father's Day to him since elementary school. Anyway, he's telling the rest of the family I'm turning my sister away from him, but thankfully he's well known as a liar. But now I'm really tempted to post that video on Facebook and title it Happy Belated Father's Day. Just to sum up what the comments replying to this said, most of them just want them to post the video. And they want it posted on here too, so that they can kind of ridicule somebody who's a jerk. If you don't act like a father, you don't deserve a Father's Day. If you antagonize your child for probably social media views, you don't deserve a Father's Day. You can't cry about it after the fact. You got what you deserved. Nothing. You and your ex-wife recording a 7-year-old at the park, acting as though you abandoned them there and watching how panicked and scared they got? You're pathetic. If you do that sort of thing, you're absolutely pathetic, and I would love to use some more strong words here. What an entitled guy. Our next story is by Arachnakid57. If you guys hear a rumbling in the background, there's a motorcycle outside my house right now, so hopefully that doesn't carry over, but it might. Entitled parent tries to steal seat because you guys are not even talking, and then she complains we are faking a disability. Hello there, ladies and gentle ladies. This wonderful story occurred last Sunday, and I've been ruminating on posting it. So, a bit of backstory. I'm 14 and male. I have ADHD, which causes me to have an awful stutter, and my friend, who's 14 male, has autism and normally wears noise-canceling headphones or earphones as the noise and light can send him into a meltdown. Because of this, we tend to communicate in BSL. See, I need to Google what BSL is now. I know what ASL is. Breed-specific legislation. What? That's not right. Oh, okay. This person must be from England because they use British Sign Language. Because of this, we tend to communicate in British Sign Language as I don't stutter and he can be in perfect silence. I also was in a very dark space a few years ago, and I regularly go to the gym or go for runs as it gives me time to think. Because of this, I am pretty hench. What does hench mean? God darn English people. Hench means strong or fit. Anywho, backstory out of the way. My friend and I were strolling along one of our usual paths that has some really nice views and minimal cars. About halfway into the walk, there is a pub, or bar for you Yanks. And because the British heat is ridiculous, we decided that we would go in and get a lemonade or a shandy, depending on how lucky we were. I don't know what a shandy is either, but I'm not Googling it. Not right now. The whole time communicating in sign language. After we took our seats, the last seats under the covered area outside, a woman who I think we'll call Karen walked up to us with a little kid in tow. She loudly boomed in her stuck-up voice, boys, I think you'll find that those are my seats. See, I know the pub owner, so you best move. Besides, you weren't even talking anyway. So just take your drinks and go. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. We also know the owner because the owner is my friend's, the one who is with me now, dad. I then managed to string together a comprehensible set of words. We were talking, we were just using sign language. Then the Karen said, "Oh, you're faking a disability. God, what is wrong with your generation?" Seemingly forgetting her brat behind her who is tugging on her hand and throwing a hissy fit. Now, rather nervous, I managed to stutter out, we're not, though. We're just prefer to communicate this way. At this point, the Karen is screaming a slurry of insults at us, asking me to speak up and to just effing move. Then she tried to grab me and my friend and throw us off the bench. This set my friend off and he started having a meltdown. This caused his father to come outside as he realized that something was wrong. The lady continues to berate me, punctuating her words by knocking a finger into her chest at the end of every word. At this point, I had it, so I punctuated back, considerably harder. As the lady was stumbling backward, she somehow managed to stay upward. However, she had stepped on her child's finger as he was on the floor. In a hissy fit, this sent the kid crying harder, and her eyes finally landed on our hero of the story, my friend's dad, who was hugging my friend, trying to calm him down. She somehow did not see that he was hugging one of his patrons she assaulted seconds earlier and did not seem to make the connection, so she screamed, "Manager, this person just assaulted me." At this point, my friend's dad was such a shade of red that if I took my glasses off and squinted, I couldn't tell a strawberry and him apart. He then proceeded to shout a string of expletives at this woman that I didn't even know. Since that didn't send the woman packing, then he shouted, "I will call the cops if you don't leave right now." This seemed to spur some action into the lady, and she promptly dragged her kid off the floor and scurried away like the vermin she is, leaving one autistic kid in a meltdown, me pretty miffed, a crack in the brand new decking from where she stumbled backwards, and dents from where the kid was throwing a tantrum on the floor and stamping his feet, plus one angry pub owner. Drinks were nice, though. Got something considerably harder than a shandy to calm down the nerves, as he said, but had to cut our walk short as my friend was still not in the best state. Now I gotta know what a shandy is. I don't know how to say that word either. A shandy is beer or cider mixed with a lemon or lemon-lime flavored beverage. The citrus beverage, often called lemonade, may or may not be carbonated. When I googled shandy, it came up as a panache or panache. I don't really do drinks very often, which is a kind of cocktail. I've never had that one before. I actually love lemonade, so I'd probably like this too, because my favorite drinks are like super sweet, citrusy ones. So today I learned what it means to be pretty hench, I learned what BSL is, and I learned what a shandy is. I love it when people post from nations I'm not native to. It's awesome. I learned so much. Today's episode has come to a close. If you enjoy this content, please click like or subscribe, or leave a comment below. Each of these things helps tremendously in the YouTube algorithm, and it helps me reach a wider audience. Until we meet again, have a peachy day.